Now you touch on something very important. I think so far we have been adding tools only, building, Frankenstacks and what have you. Very rarely
Yeah.
I see a policy or somebody owning saying we should, make sure that if we don't use the tool anymore, we switch it off.
Welcome to episode 2 of The Oddinary. Frans Riemersma, founder of MartechTribe and co-creator of the Martech Map, is back for another remote hike. Last time we talked about marketing in its purest form. Now we dig into what makes it actually work, marketing operations. We're exploring the common mistakes companies make when automating their marketing, how teams can work with AI instead of being replaced by it, and why adding more dashboards often makes things worse. Plus, that eternal question, who actually owns the data? Frans in Amsterdam, me in Trondheim. Let's go for a walk.
Hi, Frans. Good to have you back.
Yes, Morten. Really enjoyed the last hike, remote hike. So, that tasted like good stuff, good food. More of that, please.
So we're going to do a marketing ops version of the remote hike with you today, and I think we're just gonna dive straight into it. And the first question I have for you on this remote hike is about process problems. And what's the common mistake companies make when they try to automate marketing processes?
Yes. Okay, here it is. Boiling the ocean. Trying to nail every single process down, every step. And those two things, every process and every step. That's the best way to make sure your team is blocked for the next years. I once entered a company, a client of mine, and they mapped out the entire process for bringing a campaign to life, to the market. And they showed it to me, and it was a huge bank. And they had a wall, inner wall of almost like 60 meters. And it was full of post-it notes. And they were very proud that they plotted it all out as if, they were God and could, rule every single detail and task. It was a brave, exercise, but it didn't work because when I started interviewing people one-on-one, so it was really a safe environment, said, Frans, if I follow the process, I missed the deadline. And that was just, the opposite of what they were trying to achieve. So this is a thing. We try to over-engineer. And especially when you have a marketing ops or a IT team involved, they go nuts. So it's like, this is micromanagement. What are you guys doing? So my recommendation would always be focus on the milestones. There's always similar milestones for whatever thing you bring to market. It can be an SMS campaign. It can be Instagram campaign. It can be a big, above the line campaign. It all starts and ends just like a project. There you have your first two milestones. Then probably there's something like a brief. And then you get a proposal back from or an internal studio or shared service or maybe an agency. And then you have a deal. So those are two extra milestones. And then you start executing, and once you're executing, you have to bring it to life. You have your prep, your production, and then you bring it to life and then you evaluate. We nailed this down for this company, this bank, and said, this is the 7 milestone approach. So for every single, whatever type of campaign you do, this is working. By the way, look at this beautiful tree here. It's pretty insane,
Wow.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the sheep? I
Yes.
tried to get into the camera.
Yeah.
And there's no fence here, so I'm like, yeah.
Sorry, these were sheep or wolves?
Sheep.
Okay. You should
But
be safe.
anyway, they can be they're huge, so they can be just as mean.
Yeah, I
I've
can
learned
imagine.
from experience, so yeah. But yeah, I think you're really onto something there because I think it doesn't actually have to be processes also either, you know, because I think any time you think that you're going to fix something by fixing everything at the same time,
Yes.
it's not going to work.
No. No. And
So it's
you're
it's kind of
absolutely
a
right.
common issue.
Yeah. And it's a sign of,
Yeah.
and this is maybe not nice to say, but what we see in our research, a kind of immaturity. You try to control everything. But yeah, life takes its course and you can only plan so much. And if it's, 1/3 down the line, then your project looks differently because I don't know, your budget is cut or the competitor came up with a better campaign. Yeah, sorry, welcome to real life. You have to adjust and be agile. So yeah, I think all these, let's say, challenges, frustrations from daily practice with clients. That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that you need to be kind of sober in your approach. Like
Yes.
start with the beginning, and then it's like well, I haven't written a book, but you have, and I think you can confirm that you don't write the whole book in once or all the chapters at once, right?
Absolutely. And it's even more so. Many of the books I wrote are actually stitched together blog articles because I have to get my head around one subject. And then I'm starting to be a kind of knowledgeable. At least I like to think, okay, I think I know the boundaries. I know what the essence is. And then once, you have that, you have more blog articles and it starts building up. And it's the same thing for how do you write a brief? How do you negotiate with an agency? When do you do a kickoff internally? How do you do stakeholder management? Those things come with experience and just trying. And that's not something you can put in a system and you just hit the template and it runs for you. Not even AI, sorry.
Yeah, I agree. It's like everything you do kind of follows a plot,
Yes.
and if you're kind of trying to create the whole plot at once, you will have dead ends. You will have discrepancies or like things that don't add up when you get to like further down the line. And then, yeah.
I like what you're saying. It's just too many variables. Yeah.
Moving on to the next question, Frans. Teamwork with AI. How can marketing teams work better with both people and AI tools instead of one replacing the other?
Well, I think our jobs are changing. We're becoming more of what I call moderators rather than operators. So operating is more, the plumbing, making sure your rule-based workflow, automation workflow works. So basically that's where software is helping humans to execute a task. Whereas with AI, it can execute tasks for you, but you need to moderate. Some call it AI observability or, checking the boundaries, the guardrails, whatever you call it. There's always, as far as I know, I don't know if this will be for the next 100 years, but next year's human in the loop. You need to, moderate and see if the outcomes are good. But this is for specific tasks like, I don't know, lead scoring, lead sourcing, very detailed tasks that normally take a lot of time from a human, research tasks mainly, and that can help. That's how I see it. And I don't think that AI will then replace people. It's just that one person doesn't do one research, they can do 5 at a time because AI is doing the monkey business, so to speak.
Yeah. So when you're saying that, I'm like, I have to stop. It's so steep. I kind of get a sense that, okay, so you have operators growing into moderators, but the moderators still needs to be some kind of an expert on the field, right? In order to be able to moderate correctly, to
Even more
know
so.
when the AI is off,
Yes,
you need to be an expert at your field.
exactly.
But then I got this thought, and do you think that this AI moderating role will kind of be democratized like Martech is?
Yeah, somehow it forces us to become more of marketing people. Because we cannot hide behind, sorry, I have so much work, so much research. That can be done in minutes, or maybe, I don't know, seconds or a day. So yeah, we'll have a different role, and it's one more that looks at outcome, goals. What are we trying to achieve? Is this the right outcome? And now finally we have to think, okay, is this the ideal customer profile that this AI agent is delivering? Not just blindly, and this is what a lot of people are afraid of. Me, not so, but that we just blindly copy paste. I mean, you do this a couple of times, or you lose your job or your mind, and then you level up. I think that's how it works. And I think that is how you can collaborate and make sure stuff is executed for you. But you have to be smarter about what you're trying to achieve. So maybe it's not one big brief to an agency, but many micro briefs to your agent. What do you think?
I think you're right. But when it comes to if the AI moderator role will be democratized like Martech tools, they are actually getting simpler and simpler to use. And first to do like coding, first you had to have really deep level developers and stuff, and now you can in the other end, or the end we're in, at the stage we're right now, anyone can actually vibe code.
Yes.
Not the, of course, not the most elegant or the most complex apps, but still, they are able to. You don't have to have the most skills to code. And I'm just thinking, will we see over, like you said, the next 100 years, will we be able to see that AI moderators will actually be, AI will be so good that, maybe like in the next 10 years, you can have a not so skilled guy to moderate the AI moderator, which is actually an AI.
Possibly. Definitely, I think AI is pushing our limits, boundaries to, become better at what we do and more sharp. And I think that's only a good thing. So, I think we'll have to up our game and understand what it is that we're trying to achieve and if it works, because that is something AI is not yet doing. And 100 years from now, I don't know, Martin. That's too far ahead in the future. We just spoke about, doing a workflow and a process. Too many variables.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Let's take the first month, and
Yeah.
then the next month.
Absolutely. I agree.
So the next topic and question I would like to ask you is about failing systems. Have you seen examples where adding more tools or dashboards made marketing operations worse instead of better?
Now you touch on something very important. I think so far we have been adding tools only, building, Frankenstacks and what have you. Very rarely I see a policy or somebody owning saying we should, make sure that if we don't use the tool anymore, we switch it off. If it happens, it's for the wrong reasons. It's a financial reason from CFOs. Wrong can be right, of course, financially, but then you don't always know if you're cutting away the right stuff. In marketing, we should have this role ongoing. Somebody probably in marketing ops who says, I'm marketing ops governance, and I'm going to make sure we keep the license fees low. We don't breach any data laws and privacy and that kind of stuff. What can we deprecate and why? And that is a very, very important role that a policy I see almost nowhere yet. I had one client who said, let's do the following rule. We'll only implement new software if the software vendor tells us how we can decommission it. Take out the users, take out the data. I don't know how far they are, but that should be the kind of approach, because then you don't end up in these, what they call consolidations, which for me is normally kind of, slash and burn type of stuff rather than rationalization. Like, okay, let's use our brains, our ratio. and see what we can, get rid of. And this is a full-time job almost, I would say. At least it's a role somebody should own.
Let's dive into the fourth question of the day, ownership challenge. Why is it so hard for companies to decide who owns systems and data in marketing, and what's the fix?
I think it's because we're so probably more tool-focused, campaign-focused than really customer-focused. So if you're customer-focused and know what is your most important customer, then you reverse engineer and it's easier to own such a journey. So instead of campaign managers or an email marketer, maybe we should have something like a journey owner, somebody who's, sweating and lying awake at night because it's not frictionless yet enough, your journey. And then you're not making the revenue because it's linked to revenue, that specific journey, most probably, by making sure you make more money or you don't lose money. And very often I don't see that. So it's like we're engineering, implementing tools, engineering campaigns, and then we hope for a miracle to happen that suddenly, everybody says, yes, this is the best, product ever and the best company ever. It's a strange approach, but we all do it.
Yeah, I know. It's I don't have the solution for it.
Flip the script. Yeah, flip the script. Make sure somebody owns a journey and understand what that journey is. Somebody goes to a store, they read it in a newspaper or online or an Instagram post. So how does that flow? And we always think, oh, there's a million ways how they can get to us. It's an 80-20 rules. It's not like a million ways. It's probably 1 or 2 ways or 3 ways or maybe 5 that represent 80% of the time. Take it from there.
Yeah.
That you can own, that you can optimize. So there's always, I think, another definition of maturity is know what you don't know and be okay with it. Because if you know 80%, you know the rule and not the exception. Don't get distracted by the exception. And that is what we all try to automate, standardize, and that's where we lose a lot of time.
Yeah, and also it's sad to realize, but I think still to this day in 2025, I think there's a lot of marketers out there. Kind of when you mention customer journey for them, they're like, oh, not that workshop again. Like, we're gonna take the whole team and maybe the communication team and maybe somebody from product or hopefully somebody from product and maybe somebody from IT and gather everybody on a 30-40 people workshop in for 4 hours, having these long walls of post-it notes and stuff like that, and mapping out the customer journey, and at the end of the workshop, the whole customer journey or all the customer journeys that you have mapped out, they are kind of rolled into big tubes and stashed somewhere, never to be seen again.
Yes, because it's no longer a customer journey. You're not owning the journey as a brand. It's a customer journey. It's their journey. They own it. Just try to listen and follow, and that is something we haven't been doing for a long time. So and it's not that easy. I mean, even in conversations, how many people can really listen?
With all the rapid changes in technology, how can a marketing operations team stay flexible but still be reliable for the business?
Yeah, maybe flip that question. What if you don't? I think you have a problem. You have to.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
option. You have to be agile. You have to understand. And I think also there we have to flip the script from, sending campaigns to listening to the customer. And then suddenly you don't have to give them a host of information. Many companies and brands are sending campaigns about stuff they want customers to hear. But if you ask customers, it's not what they want to hear, need to hear, to buy. And if you really listen, this is what I see a lot in the research that we do at the business school. And most of the times, they don't need a lot of information. They need the right information. But we don't even know what that right information is. So we just send everything. And it's the same mechanism as buying tools. We just buy the whole lot. So we're safe. Not really, because you're not specific. What is it your customer really needs to know? And actually, that's a very nice exercise to find out, but many people find it hard.
Yeah, it's kind of also when you like talk about data and
Yes.
somebody says, "Oh, get all the data, right? Take everything," and I'm like, no, because if you flood something, you will have a flood, and you won't be able to do anything reasonable or do anything of that makes any sense if you flood something. So don't flood like your team with tasks. Don't flood your database with data. Don't flood your systems with data flows and automations. Like, keep it simple. Find out what you need to do to reach the goal that you have.
So here we go. If they focus on 20% of the data, 20% of the integrations, and 20% of the tools, you will get 80% of the results. And the only thing is, you need to have the maturity, meaning the a good idea of prioritization. These 20% make a difference, and this one not. And that's where the real challenge is. And many people are not empowered, don't have the mandate to exactly make those calls. So maybe to stay agile, give people a mandate so they make sure they know what the 20% is and they're able to tell you. I think that's it.
Yeah, I actually got another not a vision, but like if you look at companies, why is it that smaller companies with less of everything is more agile than the huge juggernauts of companies, right? Because they're flooded. So it's it makes sense. Like if you look at everything, like it's okay, so you work with data or you work with processes or automations or whatever. It doesn't have to be marketing or marketing ops even. Let's say, how do you want your working desk to be when you're supposed to do your work? You know,
Exactly.
consisting of the things that you need to do your job, or do you want to have everything else on it?
100%. So this is coming back to the very beginning, a different skill. I see, like you said, startups doing the work of 2-3 teams of a corporate. I see growth hackers doing the work of a startup. There's so much more you can do, and it has nothing to do with these people being brilliant. It's just making sure they're having the right mindset and mandate, and then they can do a whole lot of things, owning that whole journey and making sure it's smooth. So that's what I often call atomization of labor and tasks, not micromanagement, atomization, making sure that one goal for the customer, you'll make it happen one way or another. In a big company, as a growth hacker, I don't care. And then you're always golden. So I think this is a skill for the future, for your company, for your career. It always works.
And on that note, I think we're actually wrapping up this episode.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Frans. See you the next time.
Thank you so much, Morten. Talk soon.